Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And good Monday morning to you inside the cave. Not quite as much snow as we maybe thought we were going to get, but it's coming.
Oh, it's on its way.
It's on its way. Not
Brace
yet,
yourselves.
Brace yourselves.
Isn't that a meme from the internet world?
Game
it's
of
like brace
Thrones,
yourself,
I
winter's
think.
coming.
Yeah. John Roberts, Ian Went with you here on a Monday morning. Ian stepping in for Jeff today, and Jeff will be in for Ian on Wednesday. So same partners for me, different days.
That's right. It's fun. You know, I like doing Mondays. It's my second one since we've gone to this more permanent format. But I like to do your winners and losers.
Okay.
Get the take on all the weekend sports.
Yeah, you don't have to wait till Wednesday and do your leftovers this week.
I know. Get to do them right now. They're hot out of the
Monday
oven.
hot takes.
That's right. Yeah.
Right out of the oven. Hey, speaking of stuff that's right out of the oven.
Now for an Inside the Cave sports update.
That's right. Couple of rivals in collegiate hockey, the NCHA. They got together this weekend at the Arrington just to fill a hole in the calendar. The games did not affect the standings at all, but the number one teams in the conference, Marion and Adrian College, played a couple games, both won by the Bulldogs, dominating fashion, 8-4 comeback fashion Friday, and a 5-1 win Saturday. Here's Coach Adam Krug talking with our own Steve Barkway.
You know, it was great that we got the opportunity to play those guys. It didn't count for the standings, just with us only playing divisional teams only, but you know, I wanted to make sure we saw those guys because I do feel like they'll be the class of the North Division. You know, and then very, very good chance that we'll see them again in March come playoff time. So, you know, it was great for us to get that opportunity and kind of take it to them the way we did for really 5 of the 6 periods this weekend. It was great. So, you know, we can't just rest on that though. We got to keep working and getting better each time out now.
The only bad period, the first one of Friday night, set the stage for one of the wildest comebacks in Bulldog hockey history.
Yeah, we haven't had a comeback like that in a few years. I mean, we've had a couple where we're down 2 with 7-8 minutes to go or something, but you know, being down 3 and then in the fashion that we came back, just the storm. I mean, it was explosive, right? Scored 5 goals over the stretch of like 14 minutes. You know, I couldn't tell you the last time that happened. That was great.
They improved to 9-5 on their season. Adrian's 2-game NCHA South Series with Lake Forest, originally scheduled for this weekend, has been postponed due to COVID protocols. Currently, the Bulldogs are idle till the 26th and 27th when they will host Aurora at the Arrington Ice Arena. But Coach Krug is trying to find a team to play. So, I mean, you caught the game Friday night on the Cave. I was on the call. I agree with Adam that it's one of the wildest games in this team's history. And, you know, they were down. I mean, they were down, and it seemed like down 3-0 early second period, and to score 8 of 9, they flipped a switch.
Yeah, that doesn't happen all the time. So kudos to the Bulldogs for sticking with it and grinding out a come-from-behind win.
Adrian College women made it a little easier. A couple wins over Aurora. They're 10-0 on their season. The scores were 8-2 and 4-0. Bulldogs remain undefeated on their season. They're 3-0 in the conference. Lady Bulldogs return to competition Saturday. They will host Lake Forest, a 4:30 start. Seattle Heights women's basketball used a 21-10 third quarter to pull away from Lourdes on Sunday afternoon. Shaq Parker, she led the team in scoring with 17 points. It was a nice comeback from the day before, a setback to Rochester, 77-72, who they're setting the pace in the league right now, a 7-0 mark. In the Lourdes game, Parker ended the day 5 of 8 from the floor, 2 of 3 from 3, 5 of 8 from the free throw line. She recorded 3 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. She was our player of the game. Peyton Banks had 14 and 7. She led the team with 4 assists. Morgan Leppelmeyer from Pettisville, Ohio, had a career shooting perfect 4 for 4. All 3 of her 3-pointers. She had a career high 11 points. Kelsey Wyman had 11 boards for Sienna. She was 1 bucket away from a double-double. Adrian women's basketball, they used a suffocating defense, balanced offense, and a strong presence on the glass to sting the visiting Hornets of Kalamazoo. That's what it says on the paper, John. 81-48 win in MIAA play at the Arrington Saturday afternoon. Bulldogs improved to 4-9, 1-1 in the league. Kazoo drops to 0-4, 0-3 in the league. Senior Chelsea Palmer had her 4th double-double this season. 22 points, 11 boards, 2 blocks. Riley Campbell with 18, Sarah Cervantes with 11, and Addison Bergman had 10 for AC. A couple more notes. They snap a 4-game losing streak, and 81 points is the most for the Adrian offense this year. Lady Bulldogs continue a 4-game homestand against Olivet on Wednesday evening at 7:30. I was at that game. Bulldogs had a short bench. They played with 7 players, and they put up 81 points, so a big effort there. Nationally ranked AC men's wrestling. They won 2 of 3 matches to earn the runner-up in the 2020-21 MIAA Championships, hosted up at Alma Saturday. The Bulldogs, who also were second last season, and in 2018-19 were led by seniors Michael Jacobs and Donald Moses. Adrian is listed 18th in the initial FlowWrestling.org regular season dual meet poll for Division 3. Women's wrestling at Gannon was canceled. Hit that fight song, John. I know you want to for the next story. Is it up there?
I can't find it.
All right, Michigan basketball. Sing it in your head, everyone. They had to shift into comeback mode Sunday as they resume men's basketball schedule following a COVID-induced 3.5-week layoff. Third-ranked Michigan trailed 14 in the first half to the Badgers. And then Wisconsin went ice cold. Michigan stayed hot. A 67-59 big win over the 21st-ranked Badgers. Austin Davis, remember him from Onstead? He had a nice hook shot for the Maize and Blue.
Timeout, right baseline. Smith has it. Give it low block, right Davis. One dribble, a spin, a hook shot with the left hand, and it crawls over the front of the rim. Michigan within 5. Oh, that was a dazzling play out of that timeout for the Maize and Blue.
Dazzling. The fourth ahead for good at 1:46 from a shot from Hunter Dickinson. He had 11 points, 15 boards. Isaiah Livers led the Wolverines in scoring with 20 points. They've played for the first time since January 22nd. We'll talk about them later on this hour. It was Michael McDowell. He couldn't have picked a better time, place, or venue in which to get his first win in 358 Career Cup Series starts. McDowell pulled ahead and won the Daytona 500 after Penske Racing teammates Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski wrecked in the final lap. Chase Elliott finished second. Austin Dillon, Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin was the order for the top 5. Hamlin was trying to become the first in NASCAR history to win 3 consecutive Daytona 500. So there was a major pileup and a thunderstorm. Put the race in a nearly 6-hour delay. My goodness, what a storybook ending for the Daytona 500. That's it for a sports update. We'll have another one at 8.
And Ian, who is this hour brought to you by?
I was going to get to it.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah, this hour, 7 to 8, is being brought to you by your friends at DNP Communications. No matter how small or large your business is, DNP can help it manage communication better. From internet and phone solutions to managed IT, we're here to help. Contact an experienced business solutions consultant today at d-pcomm.com. DNP Communications, connecting you to what matters most.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, one more, I guess, local update.
Oh, I'd say so.
Yes, yesterday, the Madison Baker Bash bowling tournament was held at Lenawee Rec. Lots of local teams, Madison, Adrian, Sand Creek, and Clinton from Lenawee County were all there, as well as 6 other teams from the region. So a good day for the Adrian Maples boys team as they ended up winning the tournament. So we want to send a shout out to the boys and Coach Dale Phillips for a win over Hanover Horton in the finals, and they won by 2 pins. So quite a close match. Good job by the Maple boys capturing the Madison Baker Bash tournament yesterday.
Yeah, a lot of teams, some really good bowling in Lenawee County.
Yes.
This year, seen a lot of big numbers put up as we announce them here on the Cave. And yeah, congrats to the Maples. That's a clutch win. 2 pins, the final. One of our co-workers, Jen Bloom, has a son on the team, Landon
Yes.
Zick, and
Yep.
bowled a good game.
Yeah.
Real good game.
Yep. Couple of the other guys, Kyle Newman, Hunter Davies on the team. You know, they've got a good mix of veterans, some juniors and seniors that have been, you know, bowling for the varsity for 2 and 3 years now, and some younger guys on the team as well. So, again, just want to give a shout out to those Adrian Maple boys bowlers for their win in Sunday's Madison Baker Bash tournament.
I just want to say Baker Bash again.
Baker Bash? I
Baker
know.
Bash.
Baker Bash.
This is the Baker Bash.
There you go.
Bowling Baker Bash Extravaganza Deluxe.
Something like that.
Yeah. All right, we're going to start where the night ended.
Where
and
the night
morning
ended, I think
began.
we both stayed up and watched it as we were talking before
Yeah,
the
we
show.
did. We're
Am I,
stupid. Why'd we stay up that late knowing we have the show?
I'm not real sure.
Yeah, but we did it anyway. We do it for the listeners.
We do it for the people.
We do it.
That's
Yes.
exactly it.
Do it for the
So,
fans. But that Daytona 500, to me, it looked like a movie. It was, they were going, and you hear the guys on TV talking and the gals on TV, and they're talking about when do they make their move? When does the move happen? How are they going to do it? Because you had Logano and Kozlowski up front, they're teammates, so how are they going to block, you know, these other guys from trying to pass and,
Yeah.
and get the win? And it's friendly fire. They bump each other, and then actual fire when
Yeah,
the
there was
cars
a
start
lot of
hitting each
fire.
other. I was watching. I was like, "Is this real? Is this a replay?" It looked like if you made a movie about the Daytona 500 and it happened in this era, that would happen. Like, of course, there'd be a big wreck at the end. It'd be won under caution by a guy who hasn't won before. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah,
I
it
was.
was.
I was really entertained.
Yeah.
Of course, because there's explosions. and
Explosions
Everyone
and
was
fire
fine,
and
so.
crashes. And yes, everybody was fine. And that's, you know, in the end, the most important thing is no drivers were injured. Some cars were awful banged up, though.
Yes.
Yeah, so the guys in the shop are going to have their work cut out for them repairing those cars. And so they'll just, you know, they'll go back to the shop and they'll cut the bodies off of them and fix the frame and put a new body on it. But Michael McDowell, that was his first career NASCAR victory, and it came in the Daytona 500. And I thought I saw the stat at the end of the race. He's one of 8 drivers where their first career win, is at the Daytona 500. So I guess if you're going to win one for your first win, that's a pretty good one to win.
Yeah.
Considering it's like the Super Bowl of NASCAR racing.
Sure.
And
Great American race.
great American race. It was entertaining. You know, I got home from doing something, and it had just kind of started back up around 9 o'clock, so I maybe missed the first 10, 15 minutes of the restart. And I stayed up and watched it. So it was entertaining racing for me. And I don't consider myself a hardcore racing fan. I'm a casual fan. But a lot of, as you said, Denny Hamlin had the lead for quite a while, so we had a little bit of history there, possibly in the making,
Yeah.
with him trying to become the first guy to win 3 consecutive Daytona 500s. He ended up finishing 5th, but he led a good chunk of that race, so that had to be tough, to lead all that time and then now win it at the end. you know, Kevin Harvick was right in there, and he's won some Daytona 500s in the past. Austin Dillon, you know, all those guys were right there. But the kind of the unknown, you know, not one of the more popular names on this series, the Cup Series, Michael McDowell pulls out the win.
Never won before.
Never won before. So
Wins. That was interesting, and this would kind of piggyback on what you said. Like, I'll casually watch NASCAR and all that type of racing.
right,
It's not up on my list, but to hear how that ended, like as soon as the caution went out in the last lap, that's the winner.
right,
Like, they didn't finish it out.
right. They had to kind of figure out.
So there
who
was no
ahead.
checker flag waving across the line. It was
Yeah.
these cars explode, basically.
Yeah, yellow
And right
flag
then
comes
you win.
out, and that's. I think that's a safety thing. They
Yeah,
don't want
yeah.
them, you know, racing to the end
Through the
when
rubble
there's-
to
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. That's just they freeze the field basically at that point once the yellow comes out, and on that last lap, there's an assumption that whoever was leading the race at that point, and they were on the back stretch, I think, heading into
Yeah.
turn 3. So, not that you couldn't get past in turn 3 or turn 4, but they're going to make an assumption, and sometimes that doesn't go your way. But for Michael McDowell, it did go his way. Chase Elliott finished second, as you mentioned in the update, and he was the Cup champion last year, and so he starts off his 2021 season with a good run, with a second place finish. So
survival of the fittest.
yeah, I mean, you know, you get down to that last couple laps, and that's what it is. And they had a graphic come on, and I thought it said in the average last wreck is in lap 196. So with 4 laps to go, usually that's about where that final wreck happens. Someone trying to make a pass or make a move to get to the leader or move up some spots. And, you know, I was kind of hoping it happened back in the pack and didn't affect the front, but because I was really pulling for Joey Logano, and I have a nephew that works on his, not on his crew, but in his shop, and does fabricating bodywork. So I always kind of root for him. So my nephew, and you know, and then Denny Hamlin, because the historical aspect of it, I
Right.
thought it would have been kind of cool to see somebody win 3 straight for the first time in NASCAR history. So, but that didn't pan out. So the 2 drivers that I was kind of pulling for, they ran 1 and 2 and 1 and 3 for a long time, and couldn't quite get the job finished.
And
So
you have the Michigan guy,
Brad Keselowski, yeah.
So
he was-
I kind of found myself, you know, like, yeah,
Yeah.
so go win it for Michigan.
yeah,
And then he bumps his teammate.
yeah. He seemed kind of disappointed in his teammate. Like, he thought his teammate might have made the wrong move in the post-race interview. He's made a comment about, I can't drive other people's cars for him.
Oh, did he really?
So
I was in bed by then.
yeah,
I didn't catch
yeah,
all
I
of that.
kind of stayed up and listened to the post-race comments by some of the drivers, and but
Right,
so
that's a mistake
yeah,
on, I mean, they're teammates.
right. So, but it you know, could have cost one or both of them the win,
Yeah.
and maybe a 1-2 finish. So you know, I'm not a driving expert. I don't know how big of a, you know, I think what happened was Logano moved down to try and block Keselowski from passing him, but didn't get going fast enough, and that's when the McDowell kind of moved up on Keselowski, which I think caused Keselowski to get into Logano's car and spun them both, and McDowell went right through the McDowell. I don't want to say McDonald. McDowell went right through the middle of them, and the rest is history. And that's your Daytona 500 win.
It is,
So,
and you know, for me, the crash at the front was more entertaining than a crash at the back end of the
Sure,
race where
sure.
it didn't affect it. You want a
Sure.
little controversy. You
I
want a
get
little something else. You want the McDowells
Sure.
of the race
Sure, I
to
get it.
make it through.
I get it.
But they're the staples up there at the front, and they were leading for a reason. They're good drivers.
Sure.
And one other thing, I know we're up against it, but listening to the commentary, how much of a team kind of sport it is.
Oh yeah.
It's
They
an
work
individual accolades, but they do work as a team, and
Sure.
they,
And sometimes as manufacturers, the
Yes.
Ford
Oh, yeah.
cars will work together, the
For
Chevy
sure.
cars will work together, Toyota, all those we're kind of working together. So a lot of fun watching. Hopefully for race fans, a sign of a good season to come. So
that's right, and a Ford one.
yes,
Yeah,
yes. So good for Ford.
that's right.
Good for Ford. All right, we're going to take a quick time out here, listen to some things that pay the bills, and we'll be right back after this on Inside the Cave, 96.5 FM and 965thecave.com. And welcome back inside the cave. Ian Wendt, John Roberts with you here on a Monday morning. Going to shift from the racetrack to an engine part. The Detroit Pistons.
Oh,
So the Pistons, Ian,
yes.
winners last night over the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah. Check that out.
Yeah.
A big win. 123. So nice numerical finish there.
1, 2, 3. As easy as 1, 2, 3.
That's right. To 112. And we're seeing an NBA this year where points are just flying. I mean,
Yeah.
these teams are putting up $120 a night, which is going back to the NBA of old,
Yes.
like in the 80s
Yeah.
and earlier where,
Scoring was happening.
we're like, I'm trying to think of an example, but like, if the Pistons score 130 points, you get a free small fry the next day or something like that. They would do giveaways like that, and they would do it more often than not. But 123 to 112 over New Orleans. A lot to like about the Pistons. I mean, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players scoring double figures.
So good depth.
Yes,
Good depth.
Mason Plumlee with a triple double, first of his career.
First of his career.
One of the oldest to get their first triple double.
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah.
The Pistons started out the game. They trailed at the end of one by 10. They were down by 10 at the end of one. And then they won every quarter, outscored New Orleans by 12 in the second, to lead by 2 at the half. And then just extended their lead and ended up pulling away for an 11-point victory. So that's a good win for the Pistons. They've won 3 of their last 4. They had a good weekend. I mean, they beat Boston. They beat Brooklyn late last week. I mean,
Yeah.
they've had a good stretch here.
They sure have. And looking at the team stats, 48.6% from 3 compared to 25.7 for New Orleans. So Detroit made 17 threes. And when I was watching it, they were getting open looks. I mean, they were doing... It looks simple when you're watching on TV, but
Sure.
there's a lot of stuff going on in every play. But it would seem like the wing would dribble up, or the point guard would. They'd get a screen, a ball screen, and they would do something off of that. Plumlee would either roll off of it to the 3-point line, or roll down to it, and the Pistons would fill in where appropriate. And it was like a well-oiled offensive machine. They shot over 53% field goals on the game, and Coach Casey's got length. And you brought it up during the break, and I said, they seem like a big team. And then you said, yeah, they have length, and they're young. Are we overreacting to this?
A little
I
bit.
know they're
I
like
mean,
the worst in the East still, But,
Maybe
but
not anymore. We should check the standings. They might be the next to worst.
Yeah, we're
Either way,
we're
they're
still
at
not
the
talking
bottom
about
of
a
the East.
contender right now.
Right.
And we mentioned it before the season, is like, okay, we realize who they are. They've gutted the team. They've traded away a lot of talent in quotation marks. But they got young guys, a lot of draft picks, new GM. Are you encouraged by what you're seeing with the Pistons?
I am. I think they've got some young guys. Sadiq Bey has played really well in recent stretches, and I think he is looking more and more like a real steal in the draft. He had a good game last night. He started for the 8th time in his career, so he's starting to get some starting minutes. 16 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds. So that's not a bad night for a rookie. Svi Mihalik, I never know if I say his last name right or not. So he had 18 points, and they count on him to be a good shooter from the outside. He was 7 of 11 and 4 of 8 from 3. So you shoot 50% from 3-point range, that's a good night.
Yeah, and you're going to get people passing you the ball. Like if you start making those, they're not going to mind passing it out to you. To kind of tie it into a local game called the Siena men's game yesterday afternoon, the teams were a combined 0 for 21 from 3 in the first half. So in that situation, you're kind of hesitant to pass it out to the 3-point line, and that changes your offense. But like the Pistons case, they were making shots.
Yeah, and when those shots are falling, especially from 3-point range, it extends the defense, and then your big guys inside can get a little more active, and one of those big guys, Mason Plumlee, as we said, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, first career triple-double. So a good night for him. He's been a good pickup for the Pistons. I think he's enough of a veteran that he, does a lot of the little things, passing the ball and playing defense that are important. And he's capable of having, as we saw last night, a good scoring night. So they'll take those when they can get them. And, I reading the Free Press this morning, Blake Griffin didn't play, and Sekou Doumbia didn't play. So two, fairly integral parts of their team didn't even play. And, looking at the box score, a guy who's played really well for them this year is Jeremy Grant, and he didn't have necessarily a great night last night. But, he's the one guy that the Pistons are really pushing to be an all-star this year, and he's having some all-star-like games.
Josh Jackson led the Pistons with 21 points. In 21 minutes, he was shooting some lights-out basketball for Detroit. But something that should have caught Pistons fans' eyes on the TV screen last night, and it wasn't on the court. Do you know what that was?
No.
Do you know who the coach for the Pelicans is?
Oh, I do know.
A Mr. Stan Van Gundy.
Yeah. Former
Just let
Pistons coach.
Just let that sink in, people.
Yeah.
This man got another head coaching job in the league after doing what he did in Detroit.
Yeah.
How good is that, just to welcome him back into your building with your guy, Casey, and all these youngsters?
Yeah.
These kids.
Yeah. I mean, Isaiah Stewart is another one that, he's a rookie, and he's done, I'm encouraged by the play of the young guys that they've brought on the team in the last year or two. And some of these guys aren't old veterans, they're young veterans. And so this, I think, is a team that maybe can grow a little bit together. So it's encouraging to see.
Yeah, it looks like the rebuild is happening in the right way.
Yeah.
You get a bunch of young guys, unproven.
Yeah.
Throw them out there with a coach that can coach them. And then out of those, the cream rises to the top. Maybe you move off from this guy. Then you fill it in with a veteran. And then that big free agent might say, hey, Pistons need this spot. I can fill that spot. I can be a Rasheed Wallace and then just make this thing work.
Yeah.
Hit the ground running.
Yeah.
But as a Detroit sports fan, it must have felt pretty good to see old Stan Van on the bench losing again in Detroit, but this time for a different team.
Yep. And another team that had a bit of a winning weekend over on the ice, the Detroit Red Wings. Saturday night came up with a 4-2 win on the road against Nashville. So they've been playing a little better of late as well. 2-2 in their last 4. They split in Florida, Miami, against the what am I trying to say?
Panthers.
Winning 4-1 last Sunday, and then losing 2-1 in a close game. Then lost a close one to the Predators in Nashville 3-2, and wrapped up their week with a 4-2 win. So 2-2 on the road trip. Actually 2-4 because they lost 2 last week to the Lightning, who are really good. But even
Yeah.
those, 5-1, and then a closer one, 3-1. So
Right, and you look at all those games you mentioned, aside from the Lightning, you go back to the 30th of January, overtime loss to the Panthers. 3-2 loss to those same Panthers. One of the better teams in hockey, and the Panthers got a really good record going. And then you beat that same Panthers team after the Lightning series, 4-1 handily, and then you lose a close one, 2-1.
Right. The 4-1 win was the Panthers' first regulation loss on the season. So.
And then you go to this Nashville series, you lose in the last minute on Thursday. Tough one. Those are always tough to take. Then you turn around and you beat that same team at their barn a couple days later. So the losses don't seem as devastating. We're not competing with the upper echelon yet.
No.
We're not going to compete with the Tampas
The
or
Torontos.
the Torontos for now. We'll see if
yeah.
they stay there. Or like the Stars or the Knights, if we played them. I know we're sticking in
Yeah,
division
I was going to say, the
this
beauty
year.
is they don't play because of the way the schedule falls this year, they don't play some of those teams. But they're still in a really tough division. As you mentioned, Tampa, Florida's in their division this year because they kind of rearranged things geographically. Nashville's usually a tough team, and Dallas is in there, so they do play in a tough division this year. But hey, they keep grinding, and they picked up a couple wins at the end of their road trip. Some guys that have really started to play well for him, I think, are Luke Glendening. He had a goal the other night, so it's good to see him kind of get back on the scoring. Robbie Fabry came back, hadn't played yet this year due to some COVID issues, and he scored on his first shot of the year against Florida the other night. They need to get Bertuzzi back. He's kind of banged up right now. And Danny DeKeyser, no longer a Red Wing. They waving goodbye to him. It's one of those guys where I feel like injuries have really took its toll on his career as a Red Wing. He never seemed to be healthy there at the end. So, but Dylan Larkin's playing well. Anthony Mantha started to play well after they kind of sat him out. He was a healthy scratch, and so. Like the Pistons, there are some pieces that are starting to come together for the Red Wings, so it's good to see.
Yeah, it is. And, we got a few teams stuck in rebuild
Yeah,
mode.
yeah,
And this is just, we got to look at the positive of some of these things. Because if we start to see who's going to develop into the guy later down the road, we can say, we saw this coming.
Yeah.
Look at the things we did. We drafted this guy. We traded this piece to get this, which got us that.
Yeah.
And I think the Pistons and Wings are in a good spot, but it's to go back to the DeKeyser move. He's 30. He's had several surgeries. This one, most recently, a herniated disc last year, limited him to 8 games. And if you're not out there contributing, it's tough to justify the money, and that's unfortunately what it is.
Yeah.
He's played good hockey. He's also played some not very good hockey, and it's just part of the business. And I know it surprised a lot of people, and that's because he's been around for so long, and he's been on some successful teams.
Sure.
But
no longer a Red Wing.
Nope, he's been waived.
He has. So, hey, we're going to take a quick time out here. Inside the Cave, 96.5 FM and 965thecave.com if you want to listen around the world online, wherever they have the internet, you can do that. We'll be right back after this. And welcome back inside the cave. Cruising towards the end of hour one today. John Roberts, Ian Went with you here on a Monday morning. Little unusual. Ian stepping in for Jeff. Jeff will be stepping in for Ian on Wednesdays.
Yeah, I work on Mondays sometimes.
Sometimes. Usually a lot later in the day, though, which you're busy on Mondays.
Yeah, which is still the case today, but we power through
There you go.
regardless. Happy
There you go.
President's Day.
Happy President's Day,
Washington's
everybody.
birthday. I hope you know
Uh,
if they're celebrating.
I think a lot of people have school off today. Not necessarily because of the weather, but some had midwinter break, but some did cancel for weather reasons. And we were tagged in a tweet, I believe, from
Yeah, Britton Deerfield.
Britton Deerfield, letting us know that they're not in school today.
So they're home listening to the cave.
They're
we
home listening
appreciate
to the
it.
cave.
Yeah,
We
and
appreciate that.
They can climb into the cave with us. We're on YouTube today.
Absolutely.
Lenawee Broadcasting Company. Link is on Facebook and Twitter. So we heard the Spartan update, Michigan Sports Brief.
Yeah.
This basketball team, John, sucks.
Yeah, they're not
Okay.
very good this year.
Trash. I take back everything I said about the Duke win. Trash. Duke sucks this year.
That seems
Michigan
like
State
last year.
sucks
almost.
this year.
It's bad.
What is happening? This is not a tournament team.
No.
They're going to break all sorts of streaks because this team sucks.
Yeah, they're not.
They
very
are
good.
garbage, John.
Yeah.
They can't defend. They can't score. Cassius must have covered up a lot of holes with this team. He's great. So is Tillman. Man, this team is lost. And they need this recruiting class to stay that's coming in
Yeah.
and be a factor. They need Amani Bates. And I said that last week, I think, off the air. This team needs Amani to stay committed to this team and realize, look, we need you. We need you to fill this role because this team stinks. You get blown off the court, your own court. I don't care who it is. I know Iowa's good.
Yeah.
You lost by 30 at the Breslin. I get it, no one's there. That's not an excuse. Tom won't use that as an excuse. You scored 58 points.
And you know,
It's disgusting.
the funny thing was two things that you said there. Number one, they got beat by 30 at home against a team that 11 days earlier, I mean, they pushed them to the brink in Iowa City.
Yeah.
They were in that
They had
game.
a chance to win.
Yeah, they had a chance to win that game. And you mentioned two guys off of last year's team, Xavier Tillman and Cassius Winston. And I think that's the two biggest weaknesses on this year's team
Yes.
is inconsistent point guard play.
Yep.
No one has stepped up and
100%.
seized that role. And then they're just not very, there's no really inside
defender.
presence, rim defender or
go down and
post
score.
scorer like
Not
Xavier
there.
Tillman was. I mean, those guys just have not stepped up into that role and filled his shoes, nor have any of the point guards filled Cassius Winston's shoes. And I just think that's a huge thing in the struggles of this team. I mean, you know, you talked about them not being a tournament team, and I don't think they are. I mean,
No.
and I think in agreement with a lot of the national people that follow college basketball. The only way they're getting in at this point is if they win the Big Ten tournament. I mean, they've got some tough games. I'm looking at their schedule. They go to Purdue next, then Indiana, who's playing better lately.
Yeah.
Then they got Illinois at home, Ohio State at home, I know Michigan won big yesterday, had a big win, I should say. But there's people starting to talk like Ohio State, ranked number 4 in the country, is every bit as good as them. You know, they've got a tough stretch, and they close the season with Michigan at home, you know, at the Breslin Center.
Yeah.
So there's no real easy games left on their schedule. I mean, Maryland, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
You're looking up at them.
I mean,
You're a game behind Maryland.
Yeah.
You're a game and a half behind Minnesota. You're looking up at Indiana, Rutgers, Purdue, all those other teams you mentioned. John,
Yeah.
you got to win 5 of these 6 convincingly, and like make it to the Big Ten championship in the tournament.
Yeah, and I don't see that happening. I don't know that they win 2 more games in the regular season.
No, what would lead you to believe that?
I
No.
mean,
that they would even win, like a game.
Yeah.
What are you
So
seeing?
if you're a Spartan
It's
fan,
trouble. It's
keep the
trouble.
faith, and you got to keep your fingers crossed that they win the Big Ten tournament to keep that NCAA tournament streak alive. So
What a just tire fire.
yeah, it's
I mean, you
not
win.
been
You
good.
win at Duke. At that moment, I was like, "That's a great win." I told you. I said on the air, "That's a great win. That's like a season-defining win."
Yeah. Speaking of
Get the conference
season-defining
play.
wins, though.
Yeah. Now that's my spiel about the bad team in the
Yeah.
state right now.
Speaking of season-defining wins, yesterday, going a little bit east in the state, Michigan.
Might as well play the fight song
I
while you're at
should
it.
play the fight song for that. That's a good call, Ian.
I don't know why I have to tell all you U of Mers to play this fight song every time.
It is the greatest fight
It's right
song
there
in
on
the
the
world.
screen.
They,
I know Pat plays it plenty, so
yeah, I'm sure he gets enough. He's not here though, right?
no. This
But-
team is a 1 seed.
Yeah,
I don't care who you are.
They they also have some tough games coming up. So they're going to have to play well down the stretch as well. Pulling up their schedule. Home against Rutgers on Thursday, who's ranked. I mean,
Yeah, they're
number
still hanging
25. Then they got the big one next Sunday in Columbus against the Buckeyes. So that'll be a tough one. They play Iowa again, and then they've got Indiana and Michigan State, who are both unranked. So, but Michigan State's a rivalry game. But I agree, they're playing like a 1 seed. There's no question they're one of the 4 or 5 best teams in America this year. To take 20 some days off, and they looked rusty in the first half. But their second half, man, they turned up the defense and they defend well. They are a good defensive basketball
Might be
team.
the best one in America.
Just might be.
Yeah.
I'd like to see who's better than them on a game in, game out basis. And they just put the clamps to Wisconsin. And, then we had a little elbow to the face. I didn't see that. Mike Smith took an elbow to the face, and some say that was the turning point in the game. But a huge, huge road win over a ranked opponent for Michigan after a long layoff speaks really well for where this team might be going the rest of the season, and hopefully some good things in the tournament from them. So that's it, Ian. First hour, and who was this first hour brought to us by?
DNP Communications. It's your business source for all your communication needs. Contact a local consultant to see how they can help your local business thrive with innovative solutions to fit your needs and budget. Find them at d-pcomm.com. DNP Communications, connecting you to what matters most.
All right, we're going to be right back after this.
Different. Three-dimensional physical therapy takes their
And that's right, you're back inside the cave Monday morning. John Roberts, Ian Went with you here on a Monday.
Yeah, good morning.
How you doing, Ian? You hanging in there on a Monday morning?
Doing just hunky-dunky-dory. Happy to be inside the cave. Because outside, I think we're getting some snow.
Has it started?
I think so.
We don't have a window in the cave.
Well, no.
We
caves,
do, but it doesn't
normally-
look outside. It is behind your head. So, hey, just a reminder that this hour is sponsored by Hyatt Insurance with locations in Blissfield, Petersburg, and Lambertville. You won't get thrown into a push-button voicemail system. Personalized service is how they do business at Hyatt Insurance. And with that,
Now for an Inside the Cave sports update.
That's right, a lot of local sports to get to. We start on the ice. Two rivals in the Northern Collegiate Hockey Association got together this weekend in Adrian just to fill a hole in the calendar. The games did not affect the standings, but the number one teams in the north and south, Marion in the north, Adrian in the south, played a couple games, both won by the Bulldogs, dominating fashion 8-4 Friday and 5-1 Saturday. Here's Coach Adam Krug talking with our own Steve Parkway.
You know, it was great that we got the opportunity to play those guys. It didn't count for the standings, just with us only playing divisional teams only. But, you know, I wanted to make sure we saw those guys because I do feel like they'll be the class of the North Division. You know, and then very, very good chance that we'll see them again in March come playoff time. So, you know, it was great for us to get that opportunity and kind of take it to them the way we did for really 5 of the 6 periods this weekend. It was great. So, you know, we can't just rest on that though. We got to keep working and getting better each time out now.
The only one bad period, the first one of Friday night, set the stage for one of the wildest comebacks for Adrian College Bulldog hockey.
Yeah, we haven't had a comeback like that in a few years. I mean, we've had a couple where we're down 2 with 7-8 minutes to go or something, but being down 3 and then in the fashion that we came back, just the storm. I mean, it was explosive, right? Scored 5 goals over the stretch of like 14 minutes. I couldn't tell you the last time that happened. That was great.
They improved to 9-5 on the season. Their 2-game NCHA South series with Lake Forest, originally scheduled for this weekend, canceled, so no NCHA game this weekend due to COVID protocols for the Foresters. Currently, the Bulldogs are idle till the 26th and 27th when they host Aurora at the Arrington, but Coach Krug is trying to find a couple teams to play, if not get a series in this weekend. For the women, couple big wins, one at home, one on the road, both against Aurora, improving to 10-0 on the season. The scores were 8-2, 4-0. Bulldogs remain unbeaten on the season. They're 3-0 in conference play. Lady Bulldogs return to competition. They will play the Foresters of Lake Forest on Saturday and Sunday. Siena Heights women's basketball. They used a 21-10 third quarter to pull away from Lourdes on Sunday afternoon. Shakaya Parker, Shaq, from Grand Rapids, led the team in scoring, 17 points in that victory. It was a nice comeback from the day before, a 77-72 setback to Rochester, who now sets the pace in the league. They're 7-0 in the Lourdes game. Parker ended 5 of 8 from the floor, 2 of 4 from 3, 5 of 8 from the free throw line. She had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. She was our player of the game. Peyton Banks had 14. Morgan Leppelmeyer had a 100% shooting percentage. She scored 11 points. Kelsey Wyman from Blissfield, she had 11 boards. Adrian College women's basketball, they used a suffocating defense, balanced offense, and a strong performance on the glass to sting the visiting Kalamazoo College Hornets. That's what's written down, I have to say it. It was an 81-48 win in Michigan Intercollegiate Athletic Association action Saturday afternoon. The Bulldogs are now 4-9 overall, 1-1 in the league. Hornets fall to 0-4, 0-3 in the league. Chelsea Palmer had a game-high 22 points, 11 boards. Riley Campbell with 18. Sarah Cervantes, 11. Addison Bergman had 10 for AC. They snap a 4-game losing streak. The 81 points, the most they've scored this season. The Bulldogs continue their 4-game homestand against MIAA competition this Wednesday at 7:30 against Olivet. The nationally ranked Adrian College men's wrestling team won a couple matches to earn the runner-up spot in the 2020-21 MIAA championships hosted up at Alma on Saturday. The Bulldogs, who also were second last season, and in 2018-19 were led by seniors Michael Jacobs, who went 3-0, and Donald Moses III, who went 3-0 as well. Adrian is now 18th in the initial FloWrestling.org regular season dual meet poll for Division III. For the women, they were supposed to play at Gannon, and that was canceled. As we talked about before the break, Michigan basketball finally back in action. They had to shift into comeback mode on Sunday, and that's what they did as they're coming off their 3.5-week COVID-induced layoff. The third-ranked Wolverines trailed by 14 in the first half before Wisconsin shooters went ice cold in Michigan's 67-59 win over the 21st-ranked Badgers. Austin Davis of Onstead with a nice hook shot for the Maize and Blue. Here's the call.
Off the timeout, right baseline. Smith has it. Give it low block right. Davis. One dribble, a spin, a hook shot with the left hand, and it crawls over the front of the rim. Michigan within 5. Oh, that was a dazzling play out of that timeout for the Maize and Blue.
Michigan now 14-1. They scored the game's final 8 points and pulled ahead for good with a minute 46 left on a tie-breaking putback from Hunter Dickinson. He had 11 points, 15 boards. Isaiah Livers had 20 to lead Michigan, which was playing for the first time since January 22nd. And it was a weather delay, crash in the final lap. Michael McDowell couldn't have picked a better time, place, or venue to get his first victory in the 358 Career Cup Series starts. He won the Daytona 500 after Penske Racing teammates Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski wrecked in the final lap. Chase Elliott third, followed by Austin Dillon, Kevin Harvick, and Denny Hamlin, who was going for a three-peat. That did not happen. McDowell gets the win. The Detroit Pistons were in action yesterday. They got a win over the New Orleans Pelicans with a final score of 123 to 112. And we have some bowling scores, John.
Yes, one more local item of note. Yesterday, the Madison Baker Bash tournament was held at Lenawee Rec, and the Adrian Maples came out on top. A narrow victory in the finals by 2 pins. So congratulations to Coach Phillips and the boys on their victory in the Madison
Baker Bash.
You just like saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a good day for the Maples on the lanes. The girls, we'll quickly mention them, they also finished 4th on the girls' side. So pretty good day for the Maple
too,
Bowls.
right?
Yeah, 10 teams on the boys' side. Some local squads that were there. Madison was there, Sand Creek, and Clinton were all there from Lenawee County. Hillsdale from not too far away, Hanover, Horton, Pittsford, Jonesville, Sturgis. So that rounded out the field. But the Adrian Maples, strong performance by various bowlers all day, and they were able to come home with the tournament title.
And they defend the home lanes.
Defend the home lanes. Well, it's the home lanes for a lot of for
I
Madison
know.
and Sand Creek also.
Hey,
but
come on.
hey, we'll take it.
Yep.
It's definitely Adrian's home lanes too. And so congratulations once again to those kids and Coach Dale Phillips on their win yesterday in the Madison
Baker Bash.
I just like letting you say that because I know you like
Me
it.
too. It's one of my new favorite things for this week.
There you go. And that's the update, Ian. So there we go.
Man, a lot of stuff.
A lot of
happening.
stuff.
And it's, I know we've said this a bunch, but just to have sports in some capacity, it obviously makes the show a lot easier.
Oh, local stuff too.
The local
we
stuff.
love,
It's
you
a lot
know,
of
we
fun.
appreciate, we said yesterday, John and I, we were on the Sunday show yesterday, and we said we just appreciate coaches continuing to send that stuff in to us. Coaches, if you're listening out there, send us your score, send us your results. sports@965thecave.com. We'll get them on the air. We love to talk about your kids, your season, and so please keep sending those to us, and you will get to hear your name on the radio. So.
And maybe some interviews.
Maybe
Get
some
airtime.
interviews too, yes.
Yeah,
So,
and find us on social media too. Just whatever way you want to contact us, but email's the more formal and more direct, because we check that every single morning here inside the cave. sports@965thecave.com.
there
John,
you go.
This is obviously my favorite segment when I get to fill in on a very limited basis when Jeff is out or when you are out for whatever reason.
Well, let's get to it then, if you like.
I think people know what's coming.
They
I
do.
think
Here we go.
Inside the cave, 3 losers from the weekend.
You want to go first, or you want me to
I'm
go
so
first?
ready.
You're like a guest today, so I'll let
That's
you
right.
go
Okay.
first.
We alternate, right?
Yes,
Okay, so I'm gonna go 3-1.
that's how we
Least
do it.
loser to biggest. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Maybe I've said it on the air, maybe not, but if I haven't, that's a big reason why I'm doing it. Coaches preaching about wearing a mask and not wearing it. I'm sick and tired of seeing all these coaches, athletes too, preach to everyone to wear a mask, to stay socially distant, and as soon as they want to tell a kid something, they rip it down and start yelling at them. Don't be a hypocrite. We see it. Okay?
Yeah.
Actions speak louder than your words.
You might have to draw them closer to you in these times so they can hear you. And it's not
Right.
like there's huge crowd noise either. I mean,
No.
or
So,
pep
even-
bands and all that stuff.
Just be consistent, and I'm getting tired of it, and I'll point out I'll say my coach, but being the Spartan fan, seeing Tom Izzo pull his mask down to yell at kids on the court. Look, we were on a pause due to COVID. Like the
Mhm.
team got COVID. You were sick earlier this year. Why are you of all people not leaving your mask on? There's got to be a way to make it work.
Yep.
There's got to be.
Yeah.
And that's a big loser. Are coaches that preach wearing a mask and don't do it on TV. All the kids see it. All your fans see it. The media sees it. Wink, wink. Me. That's a loser.
Yeah. I'll stay right with kind of the team you mentioned there just a second ago, the Michigan State Spartans basketball
Only 3?
team. Yeah, there's
Okay.
I knew we were going to talk about it, so I didn't want to beat up on them too bad. We've beaten up on them enough. Worst loss in Izzo's tenure on Saturday, and we analyzed it earlier in the show, and we talked a little bit about it on yesterday's show. Just tough going for the Spartans. So.
All right, my second loser. First half 3-pointers. Called the Siena Heights men's basketball game, 3 o'clock yesterday against Lords. Teams combined 0 for 21
Yikes.
from 3.
Yikes.
Lords was 0 for 12, Siena 0 for 9, and
Whew.
Siena trailed by 15 at the break.
Whew.
So, a lot of fires away and it's off the mark.
Yeah.
Hit the iron. And they were playing a back-to-back
Right.
days, so
Right.
I get it, but not one single made 3 in that first half. That's a loser.
Yeah, that's a tough way to go. They'll probably be working on shooting in practice today.
Yeah, both teams.
Both teams,
Yeah.
yes. My number 2 loser, Daytona 500 fans, in the fact that they had to sit through or wait through almost a 6-hour weather delay. And, so now the race isn't over until midnight, 12:30 at night. And so, a lot of people got to work today, so they maybe didn't stay up and see what was a pretty exciting finish.
Oh, gosh,
So
yeah.
from that regard, the fans were kind of a loser that they didn't get to see the race in normal time. So
That's
to
an
speak.
interesting take on loser.
Yeah, they lost. They weren't losers.
They lost out.
lost out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I get it.
Yeah. No, the fans aren't losers here.
Okay.
They just
Right.
lost out on a good opportunity, maybe, unless
Yeah,
they
good.
stayed up like you and I did.
Right. The dedicated television watchers. My number 1, MSU basketball.
Yeah.
You lose by 30. You need a miracle to make the tournament.
Yeah.
What a year.
Yeah.
What
It's
a
been
season.
struggle.
Oh,
It happens.
I mean, the blue bloods in college basketball
Yeah,
are
not
feeling
just
it too.
Michigan
It's not
State,
just
Kentucky,
it's not just
Duke.
us.
They're
Yeah,
all in
talk
North
to
Carolina.
Kentucky,
They're
Duke.
all struggling a little
Yeah,
bit.
they're all looking up saying, please let us in the tournament.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be something if none of them made it? That would be
Would be.
crazy.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened for a long, long time, I
No.
bet. We would have to get a research staff on that.
I mean, I think it's been 20 years for Michigan State, maybe
Oh,
longer.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
about 97, I thought I read somewhere, so a little bit longer than 20 years. My number one losers, I'm going to stay at the Daytona 500. Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski, they were running 1-2 in the final lap, and they crashed each other.
Teammates.
Teammates.
That's the
Had a chance. One of them's going to win if they just keep the wheels on the track, and
Yeah.
that didn't happen.
no.
So
Whether it was miscommunication.
something. So those are our losers of the weekend, and now
Inside the cave, 3 winners from the weekend.
Number 3 winner,
go.
Adrian Maple Bowling,
Okay.
winning the Baker Bash in clutch fashion.
Yes.
2-point win.
2 pins.
That's a big time winner.
Yes. I have them also, but a little later in my winners and losers of the weekend.
Okay.
Michigan basketball. Big road win. We talked about it at the end of last hour. Just a season-defining win, I thought. You know, you're off for 23 days. Everyone expects you to go on the road against a ranked opponent, and probably not fare so well. Although they were favored at one point on game day. I don't think they ended up being favored after all the
I
bets
think it
were
was
placed down.
maybe a point
Yeah,
and a half
point
for
and a
Wisconsin.
half. But at one point they were favored going into this game, and I thought, holy smokes, what do the odds makers know that everybody? And they showed what the odds makers knew. So good win for Michigan basketball.
Yep, Michigan's number 2 for me. They got Wisconsin's number. I don't know what it is, but when a Badger sees a Wolverine, it runs and hides, at least on the basketball court. Huge win for the Wolverines. They outscore the Badgers by 20 points in the second half, 40-20 to get that win. And they're the best team in the conference, unless Ohio State and Illinois have something to say about it. But right now, it's all blue.
Yeah,
Amazing
and we're
blue.
going to find out because they play both of those
That's right.
here in the coming weeks. So my number 2 was Michael McDowell. We talked
All
about
right.
it in the first hour. First career NASCAR Cup Series win in the Daytona 500. He was in 3rd place when that crash happened, and he kind of split the 2 guys that crashed. And congratulations to him picking up his first win. You know, they get a ring, and it's like the size of a Super Bowl ring.
Is it really?
Yeah, I've actually seen one in person. So pretty impressive. So he'll have his Daytona 500 championship ring here.
What circumstances to win it under, too?
Yeah.
6-hour weather delay.
Yeah, so he hung in there and persevered, and he's my number 2 winner.
My number 1 winner, Adrian College Hockey. Teams went 4-0 this weekend. The women just obliterate Aurora. The men kind of took it on the chin in the first period against Marion, like Coach Krug talked about. Then they score 5 straight. They score 8 out of the last 9. That's correct. That's a hockey score. 8 of the last 9 goals
Right.
to win the first game 8-4, and then go in the second game and win it 5-1. Huge win for the Dogs, playing arguably the best team in the North right now in Marion, with no St. Norbert playing this season. So Coach Krug and Coach Skelly, kudos to them getting their teams ready and getting the wins.
Yeah, good for those guys and girls. So, my number 1 winner, you had him earlier, the Adrian Maple Boys bowling team, winning the Madison.
Baker Bash.
There you go. You know, good performances. Davies, Zick, Finkbeiner, Wood, all those guys. I'm sure I've left somebody out, and I apologize, but good team win. When you win by 2 pins, in the championship match, everybody had to pull their weight, and so congratulations to those boys.
It is a Baker Bash, so it's a total team effort
No
to
question.
get that done.
No question. Yes. So that's it. That's our winners and losers of the weekend, Ian.
Those are pretty solid.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a timeout, and when we come back, we're going to have Christy Zajac, the girls basketball coach of the Tecumseh Indians, with us right here on And welcome back inside the cave. John Roberts, Ian Went with you. And joining us now on the phone, the head girls basketball coach at Tecumseh High School, Christy Zajac. Good morning, Christy.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, thanks for being with us inside the cave. So, off to a pretty decent start so far this season, and tell us a little bit about the games you played so far, Christy.
So we started off at Woodmore Lake, and that was a nice win for us. We won 51 to 18. We had a couple players step up. Jaden Benshooter started off strong. They had 18 points, and my senior Haley Dennis had 10. They really both had some breakout games, but Jaden really wasn't used to scoring, so that was great for me to see the junior step up and get 18 points in that game. And multiple people scoring. We had Jaden 18, Haley 10, and then I had Kenzie Wilkie with 13, so I had 3 people in double figures, which was awesome. And then we headed to Whitmore Lake in our second game, and we had a really tough loss there at Jackson, 51 to 46. We struggled the whole game back and forth. It was a very, very tough, aggressive game. We had 2 players foul out, which was really strong. But Jada Moore, a sophomore that I brought up this year, had a really, really great game, scoring 16 points. And I also had other people. Jaden had 9, Haley 8, and Cousy 8. So we had a lot of people scoring. We just couldn't finish off in the end. We didn't really have enough firepower. So that was a tough loss at Jackson, and then we came back. Finally had our first home game against Morenci, and we ended up beating them. What was the score for that game? 47 to 22, which was really good. Cousy had another breakout game, and they had a triple-double for us. She was amazing on the floor, 15 points, 15 rebounds, and 12 steals. And Jaden Benzer added 9. So we've had multiple people that were scoring, which is great. That's something that I love, because the team can't really lock down in one person, but we've had a lot of kids in double figures.
Well, anytime everybody on the team is contributing, that always makes life a little easier for a coach, that's for sure. You mentioned the teams you've played so far this year. So 2 kind of local teams and 1 conference opponent in Jackson. How difficult, with everything that's gone on this year, I know you know the guy who schedules some of those games for you, so how difficult has that been?
We've been talking to so many people and making so many calls. We're trying to stay as local as possible. We really got rid of all of our games that were traveling really far. We were supposed to go to my husband's high school and play at Lake Shore this year, so we canceled that game. But we're just really trying to play as many games as we can, as close to home as we can, to keep it as safe as possible. But it's been a real struggle. Like we're on the phone all the time, emailing people, calling people, asking for games, just trying to fit in as many games as we can. And we've really only been able to get 14 games, I think, on our schedule so far. We're still struggling to try and get a few more, but it's tough when you have to play 3 games a week, and most weeks are 3 games a week, so you can't really find a whole lot of non-conference games out there when everyone in their league is having to play 3 games a week.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ian.
I was going to jump in. Good morning, Coach. Ian Wentz.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, tipped off the season later than I think everyone really wanted to. What was it like to finally, get that word and get to the court practicing with masks and distancing and all those things, and finally get to play a game? What was it like for your girls?
Oh, it was such a change in the atmosphere. Those first few weeks of practice where we had to keep them 6 feet apart, we couldn't make any contact, couldn't play defense. It was tough because we were doing a lot of the same things every day, week after week, and then when we finally got the go-ahead to do some contact, and my practice completely changed the dynamic. The kids were so excited. We were able to do some competition stuff and just get after it, and they were just so happy to be able to practice like normal. So that was great, and then that first game, we were so happy. We're enjoying every second and just grateful to get the chance to play, so we're trying to squeeze in as many games as we can while we can.
One of the other things when we talk scheduling, one of the things that I don't know for sure that it's impacted your team, but I have seen, a lot of the teams around the area. Normally high school basketball is pretty much a Tuesday, Friday game, but really we've got teams playing almost every day of the week now with scheduling.
Yeah, for sure, and I think our league ended up going, Monday, Thursday, so we could get referees, cause that's a huge schedule issue as well. We're down about half of our referees in the SEC, so struggling to get referees on different nights, so I think our white conference is going Monday, Thursday, and the red is going Tuesday, Friday, just to split up the referees a little bit.
Oh, that makes sense, and I even saw, saw some pictures posted on Tecumseh's Twitter feed, on Saturday, middle school games on Saturdays, so that's a little different for the conference also.
For sure, in order to fit those in, I think we went one game during the week, and they're playing 2 games on Saturdays just to squeeze in that shortened schedule, so that both our boys and girls can have a chance to play this year, so, yeah, that's something different.
And now with those middle school girls, and then we'll get off middle school and get back to your team. Their season is normally after the boys in regular times. Is that how it's going to work out again this year?
Yep, but they're pushing them back till March, so their first team won't be till I believe March 12th.
Okay.
So pushing way back and trying to squeeze the season in within 3 weeks. So, yeah, it's way later than what it normally would. Normally they would start January 1st and be right on top of it, but now it's a couple months later.
Okay, well that's good that they're getting a chance to play this year, because obviously that's the future of your program, and those girls are going to be playing for you down the road when they get to the high school level. So off to a 2-1 start so far this year. Next game, give us a little preview if you could.
All right, we're having a Cave Creek today. I'm hoping the snow holds off so we can get out there. We got to an early game since nobody had school today. So we are heading there for 2 o'clock JV start, 3 o'clock varsity start. So we're gonna head there. Cave Creek's pretty good. They have some good players. They've got multiple players that can shoot. They've got a post player that is really skilled inside. So we're gonna head there and see if we can get a win over at Cave Creek this afternoon.
Yeah, I think one of the favorites in the TCC, right? Them and Madison are usually up there.
Yep. I think we're playing both Madison and Cave Creek. We're playing a lot of TCC schools. Just trying to keep it close. But yeah, both Madison and Cave Creek should be top of the TCC this season.
And coach, your team being one of, if not the best in the SEC, I know you lost quite a bit of scoring last year to a local university with Miss Alcock going to Siena Heights. How's your team sort of constructed this year? What's the makeup of the Tecumseh Indians girls varsity team?
Well, we have my lone senior, Haley Dennis, who's 6'2", but mainly plays a guard for me.
Really?
I've only had her for 2 seasons, which I wish I would have had her for more, because she has so much potential. And she's doing really well. She's averaging 9 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 steals, but she still has so much more potential that she could do so much more. So she's getting better every day, which is great. And I have my sophomore guard forward, Chesney Wilkie, who's just so athletic and just an all-around great athlete. She's a great cross-country runner, great soccer player. She's averaging 12 points, 12 rebounds, and almost 5 steals a game. So she just has a knack for the rebound. She's so quick and athletic, just can get to the ball. And she's been scoring off her defense, which has been amazing. She's been a great highlight for this season. And then my junior post player, who's stepping up and averaging about 12 points, 6 rebounds a game, and 2 steals. She's been handling our inside game, scoring in the post for me. And then I had a sophomore guard, Jada Moore, who I brought up, who's had great success on the floor, scoring averaging 8 points, 5 rebounds, and almost 4 steals a game. And then I have Allie Barrett, a junior, who's handling the point guard for me, getting some assists out there, making some good passes. And then I brought up a freshman, Bella Yosepaitis, who's done a great job. She's so smart and athletic, and she's just doing everything that she needs to do to help our team, averaging about 2 points and 2 rebounds. So I only have 6 players on the floor that I brought up this year. I'm utilizing that 5-quarter rule quite often. So I only have 6, and then I bring about 5 other JV players that bring up to sit on the bench just in case we need them if we foul out or get in foul trouble and things like that. So we're going to try and make it through the season with my spectacular 6.
I like it. Alliteration.
That'll be the T-shirt for the team, the Spectacular 6.
That seems to be the gist here at Tecumseh. This is my 4th year, and I haven't had more than 7 players on the team since I've been here. So we've been struggling with numbers, but hopefully this will be the last year that we have really low numbers. With my 8th great group, gets up there, we should be good and have a full squad from here on out.
Well, that's good to hear. You know, you mentioned a lot of those girls, and as you said, only one senior. So, not that you're done with this year for sure, but looks like some good things on the way for the Tecumseh Girls Indians basketball program.
Yeah, for sure. And I have so many girls that have basketball as their number one sport, and that really hasn't been the key here at Tecumseh. There's been very minimal kids here that have been basketball as their first sport, and we have quite a few eighth graders who have basketball as their number one, playing high level travel around all over the past year. I have about 7th graders who are playing travel ball year round, so it's great to see the kids just love the game and just want to be on the court and want to get better. So that's going to be coming up in the near future. Tecumseh basketball is going to be hopefully near the top for the next few years.
And you know, one of the things that I know you do a lot of with your program is spend time with them in the summer, and that was probably a little more difficult this past summer. And how does that impact, especially a younger team where maybe they haven't played together as much?
Yeah, that was the big. We usually try to play 30 games throughout the summer and do a lot of skill work and to get the kids ready. So we were at practice last week, and I know we were struggling with offense and defense, and we really haven't practiced our offense with defense on us. So it was difficult. And Coach Bartell needed to take a minute. He's like, I need to give myself a minute because normally we would be 30 games in, and I have to keep telling myself that, you know what, this is the first time these kids have actually played in the past year. So we're way behind what we normally are in the season. So we've got to kind of calm down a little bit and take what we've got and just start where we're at and just improve on each day from where we are. So that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I would imagine that's a challenge for a lot of coaches is, you know, you got to walk before you run because so often you come into the season and you're a lot more ready to run.
Right, for sure, yes.
And Coach, I want to look at the SEC in totality, and there's, you know, the other local school in the county with Adrian, along with you guys, of course. What are the other teams that the casual fan will want to circle that game for? Maybe they want to try to attend on your schedule. What's the team that really stands out for you besides, of course, the rivalry with the Maples?
Okay. Well, Chelsea's always a rival for us. I haven't been able to beat Chelsea since I've been here, so that's really a game that I would like to get this season. And they're always loaded with talent. They have tons of girls that play travel ball all over the place, but we always play so hard. My girls play so hard against Chelsea. We've always just come up just short. So I'm hoping to be able to try and get a win either at our place or there. But they'll be really tough again. Dexter's got all their players back from last year. They're loaded with talent again, so that's going to be a tough game. So those two will be one to watch. Pixie's got a lot of young players that are now juniors, so they've had a lot of their players that were up on varsity as freshmen, so they're going to be juniors this year, so they should be tough as well. So we got a lot of tough games in our league schedule coming up.
Yeah, the SEC white and red always tough when it comes to basketball for both the boys and the girls, and this year sounds like no exception. Coach, we want to thank you for taking a few minutes with us today, and appreciate you coming in. We'll try to get you in maybe a little later in the season as we get closer to the state tournament, and want to wish you good luck against Sand Creek today.
Thank you. Thank you both so much for having me.
All right,
you,
we
Coach.
appreciate it. That's Christy Zajac, the head girls basketball coach at Tecumseh High School, with us inside the cave this morning. So we're going to take a quick time out here, and we'll be back to wrap up the show in the end segments here.
That's right. We're going to preview the cave this week. It's a
Yes.
busy week, so keep your radios tuned in. We'll tell you what to listen for and when on the other side.
There you go, right here on
Sports.
chair dancing music. And welcome back inside the cave. Little chair dancing music there.
No,
Ian's not chair
no,
dancing.
not chair dancing. Save that for Wednesday when Jeff comes back.
That's right. He'll be ready to chair dance by Wednesday.
That's right.
I wonder if he's going to want to do his leftovers.
I think we should put him on the spot for that.
There you go. He's going to
Give
have
him
to
some
give us his
leftovers. He's got to have thoughts on this weekend.
I would think so. I
Yeah.
would think so. We'll have to wait and tune in on Wednesday, though. But speaking of tuning in, Ian, here on the Cave, it's going to be a busy week. Lots of local stuff, and starting tonight, of course, with Saint Sports Weekly, as you heard in the promo, and we're not sure if Jeff's going to be back in town to host that, or is that going to be John Kane? You know it's not you. You're not.
No,
doing
it is
It's
not.
not Pat Hayes.
No.
It's not me.
No. So that leaves those two.
Yeah, so it's either going to be Jeff Bowman with you tonight at 6 o'clock or John Kane.
There'll be someone with the first name that starts with J.
Yes, along with Fred Smith and some other assorted Siena Heights athletic department guests.
Yeah, either an alum or a current athlete. It's a very popular program. A lot of people out there listening to it. Very passionate, active Saints community, and that's on weekly from 6 to 7 o'clock on Monday nights. It's a fun show. Can't wait till we can have people in the studio to a greater extent to get
Yes.
the coaches and all them
Yes.
familiar with being inside the cave. But for now, we're over the phone, and it's been a fun experience.
Yeah, we're getting closer. We're getting closer here at 96.5 The Cave to maybe being able to have some people in. But for now, it's phone interviews. And if you were with us in the last segment, you heard Coach Christy Zajac of the Tecumseh Indians girls basketball program getting us ready for their game at Sand Creek this afternoon. So a matinee affair over in Sand Creek.
Trying to beat the snow.
Trying to beat the snow. Yeah, no kidding. So, yeah, plus it probably helps find officials at 3 o'clock as opposed to 7 when maybe a bunch of other schools are playing, as
Very
she
true.
mentioned. So then tomorrow night we have girls basketball here on the Cave. The Adrian Maples travel across town to Lenawee Christian for a inter-county battle. Inner city battle. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure this is the first time those two have played one another.
And
I
I
don't-
feel like you would know.
Yeah,
about
I know
people,
when I was athletic director, they never played, and I don't remember because before I was athletic director, I used to announce the basketball games, and I do not remember these two schools playing. So a bit of a historical matchup, and we'll have it right here on 96.5 The Cave at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. That's Adrian girls basketball at Lenawee Christian. So.
And that's
That's our first game of the basketball season. So we're kicking it off with what we hope will be a good one, an entertaining one.
It can't get much more local than that, John.
No, and we don't know if we can't remember. We don't know for sure if it's Jeff or John on the.
Some of the things here
those
are
guys,
just a
we got to
mystery.
get their schedule straight.
Look, someone's going to show up at the gym. They'll call into the studio, and then the game will start.
We know it won't be you or me.
That's
or Pat.
correct.
So
I have a game Wednesday.
You have a game Wednesday. Talk about that game.
All right, fine, I will, if I have to. No, I'm just kidding. We continue the college slate of basketball games. It'll be Siena Heights traveling down to Lima to take on Northwest Ohio. Try to right the ship for the men. Women looking to continue their success. Those games are slated for 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock on Wednesday evening and night. Maybe they'll push the last game up. They did not yesterday, so they're pretty set on those times. So 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock for Siena Heights hoops.
So
here on the
Wednesday
Cave.
night's going to be a late night for you.
That's correct. And then I'm back on the Cave Thursday morning with Chuck Moran.
Chuck Moran. Okay.
It's a busy week. Like we
Busy
said, a
week.
busy week in the Cave.
Busy week. No games on our airwaves Thursday night.
We'll get
Not
a
at
night
least
off.
nothing local. You
Right.
get a night off. I get a night off. Everybody gets a night off. And then on Friday, we've got boys basketball action here on Inside the Cave. Onstead travels to Blissfield for a big LCAA matchup.
Gosh, those are classics. I mean, there was might have been last year where Onstead beat Blissfield on the last second shot, or the other way around.
Yeah.
Two competitive teams, two teams that seem to have just big, tall, physical athletes.
And
On
this
the
year, no
court.
exception.
No,
Excuse me. You know, both of these squads always seem to be near the top of the LCAA standings, in contention for the title, and I can't imagine this Friday night's game won't be a hotly contested matchup between those two teams.
right. And scrolling through Twitter, really close loss by Blissfield to Erie Mason.
Mm-hmm. On a buzzer
Last
beater.
second 3-pointer.
Yeah.
To give them the win for the Golden Eagles. So a motivated Blissfield team. You know Onstead will be. It's an inter-conference matchup between the Lenawee County schools. Can't get much better than that.
And Onstead, Ian, also coming off a 2-point loss to Jonesville on Saturday night. So both teams looking to get their ship righted this Friday night at Blissfield. I want to say it's at Blissfield.
And one of us will be there.
One of us. It won't be you or I.
No. One of us cave dwellers.
One of us cave
That's
dwellers. And then we're back to the weekend. And do you have any Saturday games? You gotta
To be
check.
determined.
To be determined.
We
But
do
for
have
sure, Sunday inside the cave, we're going to be on the road again after John and I did the show in studio yesterday. We're going to travel up to Manchester, and our good friends at Over the Edge Sports Bar are going to be hosting the Sunday edition of Inside the Cave every third Sunday of the month. So, and they were nice enough to give us a menu, Ian. So
Yeah, I mean, they have me sold at the grill and pizzeria.
yes,
Part of the menu.
the
So
word
I really-
menu with
yeah, I
the
really-
word menu, really.
I really don't have to open this, but it's just full of everything you could ever want from a sports bar and grill. You know, burgers, pizzas, booze, salads, deep fried stuff, anything you could ever want.
And I know Jeff's going to be on this Sunday. We're not sure who's going to be with him.
I think it's me.
I think it is
that's
you.
what we determined.
Yeah, and I might just drive up to have
Yeah, I'm
lunch.
sure you might.
You know, I like lunch. Shocking. Hey, so busy week here on the Cave. We hope you'll tune in with us. And just want to remind everybody that this hour has been sponsored by Ayat Insurance, with locations in Blissfield, Petersburg, and Lambertville. You won't get thrown into a push-button voicemail system. Personalized service is how they do business at Ayat Insurance. Well, Ian, hey, thanks for being on with me this morning. I appreciate it. Always fun.
Yeah, it was
Usually
fun.
we're our Wednesday show, but we got it out of the way early this week. So I'll be back with Jeff on Wednesday, and tomorrow.
I'll be with Chuck Moran Thursday.
Yep, and tomorrow we have John Kane and Chuck Moran. Chuck filling in for the vacationing Pat Hayes. And so there you go. Appreciate you.